Welcome to the 9th International Conference on Education, Business, Islamic and Technology 2025. That's the 9th ICEBIT 2025 conference. The date is 28th to 29th December 2025. Venue is H Elite Hotel, Kota Baru, Kelantan, Malaysia. The topic of the presentation is Mediating Effect of Academic Spin-offs on Acadpreneurship and Food Security in Nigeria, presented by Olanrewaju Kazeem OGUNSOLA. These are the authors. Authors are Olanrewaju Kazeem OGUNSOLA, Tanwa Oluwakemi Owodunni, and Mariam Olamide Hassan Qasim. These are designations. The corresponding author is Kazeem OGUNSOLA. The presentation outline. It starts with the purpose of the study, background to the study, literature review, methodology, results and findings, conclusion, and contributions to the study. On the purpose of the study, this paper examines the mediating effect of academic spin-offs, that is ASO, on the relationship between acadpreneurship, which is AE, and food security, that is FS, in Nigeria. That is, our paper seeks to actually investigate the relationship between academic premiership as it leads to the creation of academic spin-offs, which will later influence food security in a country, Nigeria. With regards to the background of the study, academia. When we say academia, we are referring to professors, researchers, instructors, or faculty institution, polytechnics, monotechnics, or higher institution of learning or university with different missions that you are supposed to actually carry out. However, conventionally, these professors or instructors have two main missions. One is to teach, which is by imparting knowledge on students. The second mission is to conduct research to solve societal problems or economic problems. However, in their second mission, there's what we call a minimal involvement in the implementation of the outcome of their research. So the outcome of the research is being given to policymakers that they implement, while researchers in themselves sit back and that they don't have much involvement in the implementation of the outcome of the research. In our own study, we advocate for a third mission, which is the creation of spin-offs to facilitate the transfer of their knowledge or technology from universities, that is from these professors, to the firms that have been created. One, maybe this would eventually encourage the commercialization of their research or discoveries. Secondly, it leads to practical economic and social development in the country. Still on background is also the food security. There are different statistics on food security. However, we start with the global statistics. Globally, statistics shows that 28.9%, that is 2.33 billion people, globally did not have regular access to food supply. This report is from FAO in 2024. Statistics also shows that nearly 282 million people in 59 countries experience acute food insecurity. This report is from GRFC in 2024. There is also a global statistic that says that 83 million people in 45 countries were starving, according to a report of the World Bank Group in 2025. When this statistics is being narrowed down to Africa, it shows that 46 million people or more face hunger in 2020 as compared to the year 2019. Also in Africa, 58% prevalence of moderate or severe food insecurity in Africa is being experienced in 2023, and this is about the average rate that actually occurs in the global world. This is according to the World Health Organization in 2025. This statistic can be narrowed down to Nigeria, which is the focal point of our study. According to GFSR report 2022, out of 28 sub-Saharan countries, Nigeria is being ranked 25th in terms of food security. Statistics also show that 3.1 million people are projected to be food insecure in 2025. This is about 7 million people increase as compared to the previous year. Statistics also show that 12.7% of individuals are undernourished in Nigeria, 35.3% children have stunted growth, while reports or statistics shows that 18.4% of children are what? They are underweight. Given the problems and gaps, it has been posited in our study that if food insecurity persists, it could lead to famines, malnutrition, stunted growth, impaired cognitive development, and so forth. We opine and we posit that in our study that these problems can be addressed with the creation of academic spin-offs. However, in literature review, we established that there's a depth of research, which is our gap in here, looking at the relationship between AE, ASO, and FS. This gap leads us to two main things: theoretical gap and contextual gap. By theoretical gap, we mean we are pioneering the empirical examination of the relationship between AE, ASO, and FS. By contextual gap, mean that we pioneer empirical examination of the relationship between these three variables in the context of Nigeria. In a literature review, three concepts or variables were being actually reviewed. The very first is Acadpreneurship, which is AE. Acadpreneurship is a blended word from two words, academic and entrepreneurship. By academic, we refer to professors, researchers, faculty, or instructors who identify problems through academic research. For entrepreneurship, when these professors or instructors use entrepreneurial behaviors to create entrepreneurial opportunities to solve the problems that have been identified through the academic research. The combination of academic entrepreneurship leads to what we call acadpreneurship, that is AE. In literature, Miranda views AE as a dynamic process through which individuals, these individuals are professors, researchers, faculty, or instructors, often within the context of universities or research centers, leverage the knowledge generated within research activities to create new venture or spin-off companies. Given this definition, we said that there is a distinction between academics and conventional entrepreneurs. For academics, they use academic research to offer solutions or create opportunities. For academic premiers, solutions are created through research discoveries. Academic premiers are still linked in one way or the other to their university, to faculty members, or research students. However, with conventional entrepreneurs, they focus more on societal impact and the proliferation of their products in the market. Conventional entrepreneurs base their solution on market needs rather than on academic research. Conventional entrepreneurs mostly do not have formal or informal link with the university as compared to the academics. The second variable in our study is academic spin-offs, which is ASO. ASO refers to the startup of a new business in universities by researchers. The researchers are the academics or faculty or lecturers in the university, and a transfer of specific technology or knowledge developed in the university to that business wherein they, that is, the professors, the researchers, the faculty, instructors, participate in the ownership. They are part and parcel of the running of that particular business that had been created by themselves. Two, we have distinction between academic spin-offs and conventional spin-offs. For academic spin-offs, these spin-offs are initiated through academic research or discovery. Academic spin-offs are created mainly by professors, researchers, or graduate students who they themselves are who they are entrepreneurs. However, conventional spin-offs are initiated based on market demands or market needs. They are created by anyone who is interested. They may not necessarily be professors or researchers in the university. Anyone who is interested in entrepreneurship are those that create what we call conventional spin-offs. The third variable is food security. According to the World Food Summit in 1996, FS is being described as when all people at all times have physical, economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. This definition is being given by FAO in 1996. The summary is that for food security to prevail, In a country, four main factors must be examined. We have physical availability of the food, economic affordability of the food, the quality and safety of the food must be established, and the last factor is sustainability and adaptability. Given a literature review, three hypotheses were being formulated. Each one is AE has significant effect on ASO. H2, ASO have significant effect on FS. H3, ASO mediates significant effect between acadpreneurship and food security. Methodology. The population in our study are graduate students in entrepreneurial universities in Nigeria. According to statistics, there are 242,333 graduate students in Nigeria. Given this sampling frame and using the Cochrane 1977 finite sample size determination method, we arrive at a sample size of 662. From a sample size of 762, 56 responses were declined, 34 responses were rendered invalid. Thus, using structural equation model which is same, 572 responses were being analyzed in our study. The outcome is a social demographic table. From this outcome, it is being revealed that there are more male participants in the study than female participants, which imply that there are more male graduate students than female graduate students. When compared the length and in which they carry out their academic research, it is being revealed that academic research, that is their PhD study, lasts between 5 to 7 years, which has the highest number on our social demographic table. Still on outcomes, the questionnaire items. In our questionnaires, three variables or concepts were being looked at upon. The very first one is acadpreneurship, which is measured with 19 items. Academic spin-offs ASO, measured with 5 items. Food security, measured with 16 items. All in all, we have 40 items. However, when the reliability of the questionnaire items was being examined through Crawford Alpha, there is a value of 0.951, which is above the threshold of 0.7, which indicates a good internal consistency on the questionnaire items. By implication, it suggests that each item actually measures what it intends to measure. Still on the outcome, this is a table that shows the construct reliability and the average variance extracted. From our table, there's a statistical support for the value of both construct reliability and the average variance extracted, given the values of respective construct in our study. Given the statistical support for the construct reliability and the average variance extracted, there's an indication that our question items meet both convergent and discriminate validity. By convergent validity, it says that or indicate that all 40 items shared a high proportion of variance in common to measure the constructs under review. By discriminating validity, it also indicates that when all these constructs are being separated and analyzed separately, it shows they are actually what unrelated. This is the reliability and AVA in our current study. Model fit indices. This table shows the measurement model and the structural model. The values of the measurement model and the structural model are reasonably accepted and are supported, which indicate that the data that has been collected largely fits the sampled population. How? This is evident in the GOF indices that have been revealed in our structural model. The GOF fit indices all meet the expected threshold or the expected values expected from a structural model. In our study, three hypotheses were being specified. We have the direct hypothesis testing. Two of them are H1. We have H1 and H2. For H1, the standard estimate for H1 is 0.90, which is statistical significant. For H2, the standard estimate is 0.77, which is also statistical significant. So when these two are statistically significant and the standard estimate are also practically significant, we conclude that both H1 and H2 are practically and statistically significant. By implication, this suggests that in our study, both AE and ASO can influence food security respectively. Hence, both H1 and H2 are accepted as predicted. Okay, still on the outcome, this is hypothesis testing, which is on mediation. The indirect effect outcome of ASO on AE and FS shows that the product of the direct part standard coefficient is greater than 0.08. This is the product of the direct part standard coefficient, which is greater than what? 0.08. Hence, ASO exists as a mediating variable. However, to be sure if the mediation is significant or not, a bootstrapping method was being conducted. And when we look at the bootstrapping, the lower level confidence interval and the upper level confidence interval, it shows the path does not cross zero. Hence, it indicates that ASO has a significant partial mediating effect between AE and FS. This posits that ASO focused on agricultural sector can greatly reduce poverty, promote eco-friendly agricultural practices, increase the standard of living, and enhance food security in Nigeria ditto to other nations. However, this suggests that in our study, the specified alternate hypothesis, which is A3, looking at the mediation of ASO between FS and AE on mediation is accepted as predicted in our study. In conclusion, in our study, we established that AE, which is the commercialization of academic discoveries, innovation, or intellectual property through ASO, can drive economic growth such as food security. Also, in our study, our results support our argument that if academia transfer their research findings and technologies to the industry by creating ASO, new agricultural business model, practices, products or service can evolve to enhance food security. Also, we conclude that we posit that collaboration between academia, industry, and government can bring about research-based agricultural innovations to the market to improve the food basket of the nation. Contributions and implication. Our contributions are in three folds: theoretical contribution, policy contribution, and practical contributions. For theoretical contribution, our research fills some lacuna in the literature. It pioneered empirical investigation on the interaction effects between AE, ASO, and FS. By implication, it extends literature on entrepreneurship, academic spin-offs, and food security. With regards to policy contribution, our results suggest that the interaction of AE, ASO, and FS will provide the opportunities for academia to influence policy formation in the agricultural sector. This, by implication, says that academia can indirectly help to improve policy decisions that affect farmers, food producers, and consumers. With regards to practical contribution, the practical implication of our result has multi-layers practical implications. That is for the individuals. These individuals are the faculty or perhaps the researcher or professors. Also the community itself, the society at large, and government also benefit from the outcome of our study. Limitation. The study is limited because it's a cross-sectional study. We have the scarcity of data based on AE, ASO, and FS as a one-stand literature. Then also exclusion of farmers as study participants is also a limitation in our study. Recommendation. The very first recommendation is that universities should intensify more awareness on creation of ASO amongst faculty. Secondly, NUC can take further steps to give academia the opportunity to mentor students to start a business of their choice as a major discipline, which can subsequently lead to the award of their degree certificate. And thirdly, government should place priority on academic research, e.g., by providing, for instance, providing better funding opportunities and better welfare packages to stimulate the interest of academia to engage in impactful research for the economy. With regards to future study, the hypothesis specified was statistically significant. However, it is being encouraged that Future researchers may re-examine our studies by including some mediator or moderators such as intellectual property, patent, licensing issues, funding, climate change, and regulatory hurdles to test the outcome of our research. Thank you.